I heard someone on this app talking about how rigid types of thinking are essentially the definition of white supremacy. Like the idea that there is only one right way, very black and white, inclusionary, exclusionary mentality. And yes, that certainly tracks with me in a general sense of what I understand white supremacy to be. I am not an expert in the precise definition of what white supremacy is, but certainly I would say that way of thinking is a key feature of it at a minimum. But there is more to that story, especially when you consider how that way of thinking can emerge in other areas of your life that are not necessarily social or political, or those areas of your life that occur internal to you. And really, the insidious, dangerous thing about this way of thinking is we socialize it directly through the way our systems are structured. And B, it's kind of easy to socialize us to think that way because of how language impacts the way that we perceive of and conceive of the world. It is the very nature of our smartness that creates this problem for us as human beings. It is a thing that we are all very inclined to do naturally. For example, creating a category cat in your mind necessarily creates the existence of non-cat in the world. Because in order for that label to apply, it needs to apply to something. And in order for it to apply to something, it has to apply to a very specific thing and not everything else. And over time, we learn that there are very specific sets of features that are associated with these categories, and we collapse those together in the general idea of the word cat. But this applies not just to concrete, observable, tangible concepts like cat. It applies to all of them, such as right, wrong, good, bad, me, you, this, that, everything. So if I go back to my label of cat, for example, I can think about how I can uncollapse that concept. What is cat? What is it? What actually defines this thing I call cat? Is there one key necessary feature? Is it pointy ears? Is it ability to purr? Is it 4 legs? Well, no, I've seen cats with 3 legs and 2 legs and even less legs than that. And more legs than that. And what makes it so everything else is not cat? What is it that actually distinguishes them from each other? And how many parts of cat could you take away and it would still be considered cat? Is it still cat if it doesn't have pointy ears? Is it still cat if it doesn't purr? If it's still cat if it has too many legs or not enough legs or no tail or 6 tails? And isn't everything around here just made of molecules and atoms anyway? If you zoom in far enough, can you actually see where cat ends and non-cat begins? If you zoom in far enough, can you actually tell where I end and you begin? I got braces. They're making me want to blow your mind. I am already mentally preparing for hundreds of children asking me about what's going on with my mouth on Monday, by the way. Anyway, my point is, it is that deep. Is it about white supremacy and capitalism and carceral thinking and all of the things that make this world just so unpleasant to live in? Yes, it is about that. But it's also about something so deeply, uniquely, terrifyingly human. And that is the fact that all of this is unfortunately kind of a feature and not a bug of the system. We need to be able to think in black and white ways in order to navigate this world. It is necessary for our very survival and existence. But we are capable of learning to override or at least question and consider that way of thinking as we navigate our own lives. The problem is most people don't know how to do that because, like I said before, we are conditioned not to do that. We are conditioned to think even more rigidly than we are probably naturally predisposed to. And also, no one ever teaches us how to not think that way. So usually what happens is some people are exposed to things allow them to recognize that the labels and ideas that they hold don't necessarily hold up to the lens of reality, i.e. people in marginalized communities who can look around and recognize that not every Black person is the things that the news and the media says they are, or people, for example, who live in cities where they have lots of examples of different types of people to compare against those narratives. And then there are other people who never are presented with any real-world evidence that the labels and narratives that they've been given might be false. They are never able to expand their ideas of particular concepts. In behavior analysis, we call it multiple exemplar training. The more exemplars you are trained on when it comes to forming a concept or a label or an idea, the more flexible that concept, label, and idea can become. But the overwhelming majority of us are not exposed to direct education about how to identify those ways of thinking and our reactions to those ways of thinking in our own minds and in our own lives. I had to have like a bunch of mental breakdowns before I could start figuring some of this stuff out. This way of thinking had to become a direct problem for me before I was able to see it and then start my little quest of exploring it and like not wanting to like continue to live in my perpetual self-created misery. People who are comfortable don't have a good reason to question things. And just a reminder, there are areas of our lives where we all can sometimes become a little too comfortable. What are you not questioning? You know, one thing I wasn't questioning? My belief that I couldn't do stuff if I was feeling anxious. Turns out you can totally do stuff while you're feeling anxious. And I'm not prescribing this to anybody. This is just speaking from my personal experience. For me, more than medication ever could, that is what led to me being able to cope with my anxiety. I did medication for a long time. It helped me for a while. Eventually, it was not helping me anymore. So I was kind of forced to find a different way. And in my experience, the different way that I found has been vastly more effective than the medication was for me. I'm not saying go off your medication. Some people do genuinely need it. I just happened not to. Let me tell you, pulling that thread of looking for that type of rigid thinking in multiple areas of my life is what ultimately led me to a place where I don't fucking hate myself. And I'm like actually kind of starting to vibe with myself for the first time in my life. It allowed me to release so many things that I was doing to myself to keep myself from being the whole human person that I am. And then I started exploring beyond just being more comfortable and peaceful in my life, and shit's starting to get real weird now in a way that is moving me, I think, out of comfort and peace into a place of more joy and appreciation and genuine gratitude over life. This ended up being really long. My mouth sounds are gonna sound so weird to me, and I'm going to hate editing this. I really hope I don't have to have these rubber bands for the full treatment. Your teeth are bones that live outside and hang from your lips like bats.